Attack Pattern Delta. Welcome, everyone,
Hi.
to the Unready Room. I'm Dan Gunther. With me, of
Hi.
course, is Brandi Jackola. We're not initiating Attack Pattern Delta right now.
No, we are
You
not.
just caught us in the middle of our conversation, which we will now extend to and share with all of you. So, welcome to the Unready Room. Big day today, of course. We're talking about 2 episodes. The season 3 finale of Lower Decks, The Stars at Night, and the season 1.5 premiere, the back half of season 1 of Star Trek Prodigy. We have Asylum. So we're gonna have lots of really cool stuff to talk about this week. We're gonna start with Lower Decks because that's the one we're finishing up, and then we're ushering in the next part of Prodigy with Asylum. So Brandi, how are you today?
I'm doing all right, Dan. How are you doing?
I'm okay. Just got home from a trip a few days away over the last couple days. So got home late last night. I couldn't miss this though, so we had to get back for Saturday.
Thank you.
Of course. Of course. Um so yeah, welcome of course to everyone in the comments who's joining us live. Thank you so much for joining us. We really do appreciate it. It means a ton to us. And to everyone who's watching later, thank you for joining us as well. You are much appreciated for sure. I'm seeing the already some discussion happening in the comments here. I love the little discussions here. We'll try and get to all of the crazy stuff that happened this week because there's a lot. There's so much that happened. So
Mhm.
the Stars at Night, of course, the reference to the Deep in the Heart of Texas song, that whole thing.
Which always makes me laugh because you and I both think the same thing when we hear that song.
The first thing I think of is from Pee-wee's Big Adventure, where he's on the phone and he's saying, "I'm in Texas, I'll prove it." And he just leans out the phone booth and yells, "The stars at night are big and bright." And everyone around him just, "Deep in the heart of Texas." Ah! That's the first time I was introduced to that song, and that's the way that it sticks in my head. So
Oh, that was not my first time with that song, but yeah, yeah. We I don't know why, but we sang it in school once, and
oh,
not in an assembly or anything, but in a classroom. We had a teacher that played guitar, and yeah. Anyway, I don't know why we sang that song because we were in Utah, not Texas, but
yeah.
you know
Hmm.
sometimes the same politics. Anyway, um,
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
mhm.
I prefer Yellow Rose of Texas, but anyway. No.
Yeah, I don't like that one either.
No, I mean, by prefer, I mean
Mhm.
it's not. Yeah. Anyway.
If I have to choose a song with the state in it, I'm gonna go with Tennessee Waltz
Not
because,
oh,
if we're going in that same vein. Oh no! Oh no! We've lost Dan. What's happened to Dan? Oh, okay. Hi guys. So while we're waiting for Dan to come back,
I don't know what happened.
um
I'm sorry.
that was hilarious. I'm like, just
Yes, Tennessee Waltz. Okay. All right.
yeah, which is, one of those sad sack country songs. So,
Georgia on my mind. Yeah. Oh, we got lots
mm.
here.
That one's actually good if it's done by Ray Charles.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I've just got Oklahoma going through my head.
Don't even
No,
come near me
I
with that. I hate that musical so I hate it so much.
Oh,
Mm.
well, we could go with Californication, but anyway, let's move on.
No. No.
So, yeah, we're oh, Wellington Smith beat me to it. I didn't see it, but yeah, okay. Anyway, um so let's talk about the episode. We're continuing on from last week. So many people hit the nail on the head with Admiral Buenamigo and his whole setting up California class and Carol and the Cerritos in particular.
Mhm.
But it goes even deeper than I think some people thought, because like basically the last few episodes have been him trying to kind of make them look bad. So thinking they were going to fail at negotiations on Deep Space Nine and all this sort of stuff. And the Breen attack, that was totally set up by him, which is horrifying to think about, but also apparently he's one of those bad faith admirals.
He's a badmiral.
He owns it. he is
You're better than this. No, I'm really not.
No, I'm really not. Admiral not buen amigo. Yeah, absolutely not a good friend. Less good friend, less buen amigo.
Yes.
That was pretty good. Okay.
Yes.
Very nice. Oops. I didn't mean to highlight that one, but yeah, that's a thing that comes up in this episode as well.
Yeah.
California versus Texas.
Dave pointed that out as well when we were watching it the first time. How very different the political climate is in both of those states. So
Absolutely.
And fascism. So anyway.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it looks like, of course, everything was set up to get the Texas class to put the California class fleet in mothballs, or at least regulate them to, scientific work and not the or the second contact missions. That's going to be taken over by the Texas class, and it looks like the admirals are kind of on side with Buen Amigo, but Captain Freeman pulls this idea of a second contact race out, and challenges the Alito, this untested in her mind ship, and they're going to race against each other, which I thought that's a neat setup for an episode. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. And
Yes.
they're at the starting line, right, for the race. It was just, the whole thing felt really cool. And I love the briefing people, getting them ready for this mission. We've got Billups saying they're going to do galaxy class engineering work. They're going to have to do commander data levels of engineering and stuff. And and
those isolinear chips better be a blur.
Exactly. And Commander Ransom showing everybody the proper way of commanding a chair.
He did the Riker maneuver.
That was great. That was great.
Made me laugh so hard.
I love that there's some manual somewhere in Starfleet that shows that, and Riker and Ransom both are like, yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, you gotta be tall though.
Yeah.
That's only for the tall guys and gals.
Absolutely. I'm liking the discussion in the comments about the various admirals and who are badmirals and who are not, and who are the good ones. That's fun. Admiral Forrest, yeah, but he got blowed up. Yeah.
Nechayev was a good one.
Yeah, a little rough around the edges, and
she was rough around the edges, but she didn't try and screw anybody.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. There was the only time I can think of that she was like a badmiral wasn't really her. It was the Dominion mind games when
Exactly.
she basically turns over the Bajor sector to the Dominion.
Tarnishing Nechayev's name. Stupid Dominion.
Oh, Patrick, I love Ta'ana talking about spending 7 years stuck on an O-berth to be reduced to station physician. That was great. Just walking around sickbay with a riding crop.
Yeah.
That was great. I'm trying to imagine the holodeck programs that Diane and Shax do, that riding crop. She has that handy. Anyway, we'll move on from there. Yeah.
Sorry, what? Yeah. Sorry, I was just I'm like, but what if she is having the riding crop used on her? Probably goes both ways.
So yeah, we've got this race going on, and Did anybody else notice? I've seen a little bit of discussion of this, but I haven't seen it featured a lot. The computer interface for the Texas class ships, the little multicolored lights, how they go.
Mm.
That's the M5 computer from the original series, the Ultimate Computer,
Mhm.
which, like, initially when Rutherford was looking at the code, I didn't immediately think of Badgie, but later on I was like, oh, that's why he recognizes it. But at first I thought he was gonna say, like, I've been reading Starfleet history, this is the M5 computer code because of that stuff, and he's gonna be all evil that way. But it's worse than that. He's like M5 plus Rutherford's crazy AI with daddy issues. So yeah. um
Yeah.
All right, I'm just looking at David saying that it should have been a cat of nine tails.
Of course. That's my husband, y'all. That's my husband. Yeah.
Oh boy. But yeah, okay. Yeah, other people noticed that too. That's awesome, because I thought that was a really great little callback. That was really cool. And
Definitely.
even in the, like, when they showed from the perspective of the Alito, they had that, but then on the sides they had like little round computer viewers, which looked like that part of the interface as well. So
Mhm.
that was pretty cool. Anyway,
Definitely.
yeah. And actually, I mean, we say it's the M5 computer, but it was also used for like 3 or 4 other supercomputers throughout the original series as well. It was the Gary Seven's computer in Assignment Earth, and I think a few, maybe even Landru. I don't know. I could be wrong about that one though, but it's
It
definitely on a
seems
few others.
it seems like they all looked the same, and it's like, "Oh, how many times in the original series was it the fault of an evil computer?" I'm thinking it's at least 3,
Yeah.
if not more.
And they're all
Yeah.
manufactured by the same company. Starfleet's got to
Apparently.
put an end to that. Yeah.
Yeah, get a handle on that, Starfleet, come on.
No, absolutely. So yeah, they've got to do a bunch of missions, like installing a communication system, setting up a terraforming outpost, I think, and delivering supplies to a Brigadoon style planet that only phases into our reality for a few hours every year, which, you know, call back to a terrible episode of Deep Space Nine, but
Yes.
also the one that introduced Jeffrey Combs into the Star Trek universe. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, well, as long as we got Jeffrey Combs out of it.
Yeah, and that episode, of course, was Meridian. Yeah, with
Hate it.
Dax and that guy whose name I don't even care to remember, with whom she had absolutely no chemistry at all.
No, no chemistry. And that episode makes Dave so angry,
Oh
so
yeah.
angry. It's like, okay, so there are a limited number of symbionts, right? And you, after knowing this guy for 10 minutes, you're going to stay on this planet forever and basically cut off this symbiont from having a future life when
Mm-hmm.
you die? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Oh boy. Yeah, not a good one. Not a good
Mm-mm.
one for a number
Yeah.
of reasons. But it did give
Yeah.
us Quark's head on the hologram of Kira's body. So that's kind of a so bad it's good.
Mm, yeah.
Anyway, okay. So yeah, we've got this mission, and initially, the Cerritos is in the lead, mostly because Buenamigo's kind of toying with them and letting the Alito give them a bit of a head start. Um, and yeah, the Alito, when it catches up, we find out it's beaming prefabricated modules and all this stuff, and just bam, 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 taking care of this stuff. One thing that I thought the episode would touch on, but it didn't really, is like the personal touch. Like when
Mm,
we go to the Gallardonian homeworld, the first people that we visited in the pilot, in the first episode of Lower Decks, and they come up to greet them. And I mean, the Cerritos crew is kind of like, yeah, okay, we got to work, go, go, go. But there was still like some sort of interface with the people, whereas the Alito just beams this thing down and warps away. I would think if I were the Gallardonians, I would not be happy with that. Like,
mhm.
Like, let's have like some sort of reception dinner or something like that. You know what I mean? But
Hmm.
they didn't really touch on that, but I thought that was another area where the Texas class just has this very impersonal, very not not personable touch, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's or if anything, an apathetic touch.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I that's the thing that Freeman was talking about
Hmm.
how, you can't do this with AI. You have to do this with people
Yeah.
because you're dealing with people. Now, if you have, an entire planet of artificially intelligent beings, sure, go ahead, send an AI ship. but
Yeah.
but even so, it's just like, well, we know what happens, don't we?
Yeah. Yeah, well, so yeah, this the second planet they go to set up this outpost. I loved this part because
Yes.
there's never any question of what the right thing to do here is. So they're starting to set up this outpost, and the Alito comes and sets up their thing really fast. But meanwhile, Tendy's scanning and she discovers signs that there may be microbial life. And she goes up to Ransom and says, "Sir, I think we have to stop, blah, blah, blah." And he immediately orders a stop when she says her findings. And even the captain, I love that, where they call up and they say, "We've detected signs there may be microbial life. We have to stop." And the captain's like, "What? Well, yeah, of course. Okay." Like, she's
Mhm,
obviously annoyed, but there's never any question that, like, immediately stop and make absolutely sure. And I love that from a Starfleet perspective. That was really cool. There was not one person who was going, this is BS, blah, blah. They're just like,
mhm.
okay, whoa, what's going on here? I love that.
And there was also not a single person who blamed Tendi. Not a
Yeah.
single person who went, "Ugh, if not for you," because they are all on board with what
Hmm.
has to be done if there is a chance of life.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was just really cool because Tendi was beating herself up about it, but
Yeah.
everybody else was like, "No, this is what we do. This is part of it. You did the
Yeah.
absolute right thing."
I love that. Absolutely. And yeah, they get the clear and it's okay, and they, go ahead. Now they're behind though, but the one thing that I was kind of surprised they didn't click into earlier was that the Alito didn't do that. Like, I thought it was kind of funny when the captain later was like, of course, yeah. And I'm kind of like, well, duh. Like, why didn't you pick up that immediately? But
'Cause they weren't thinking about that, they were thinking about the race.
yeah, that's true. But yeah, that was good. I liked that. And I liked that that was a point against the Alito, that it didn't pause, it didn't double check, it didn't do all these things that, a human crew or a biological crew would do, right? So that was great. Um, then we've got the Brigadoon planet, which they just miss. What
That
is with
one guy who wanted to talk to Starfleet.
next time send a replicator?
"Why are you like this?"
That was weird. I like that. That was great. Um,
Yes.
that's just such a weird thing to have in the middle of this episode where those two. I was like, okay, cool. I want to know more about this planet, I guess. But anyway.
Mm, yeah.
Um, so yeah, they lose the race to the Alito, but there's this big asterisk, right? With the Alito skipping over that aspect. And they confront Buenamigo with it. And then Rutherford rushes in because he's discovered this similarity with his code, or not similarity. It is his code. It's all there, as he says. And yeah, it's going to be a starship with daddy issues. So that's not good. Um, and Buenamigo, it's revealed, was the mysterious figure, of course, who erased Rutherford's memories because of the accident and all that stuff. And this was the project they were working on, and it's got corrupt code, and he was trying to cover that up. And then he orders the ships to go fully autonomous, which that's not a good moment. I will burn your heart in a fire. Is that? Oh dear.
Yeah, as soon as that happened, well, and I was expecting that. I'm like,
Oh, of course. Yeah.
obviously, because when Rutherford first said, "Oh, look at this code," I thought, "Uh-oh, badgie alert, badgie
Yeah.
alert." So, yeah, it's, and also Buenamigo saying, "I should have erased all of you." And I'm just like, "Oh, wow, you are completely a Badmiral. Wow,
Oh yes.
wow." And he's known Carol and her family for years.
Yeah. And he's
Oh,
just gonna like immediately get the Texas class ships to attack and destroy the Cerritos. That's his first
mhm,
order.
yep.
Wow. Oh man. So yeah, the that doesn't go as planned though.
Sure
I
doesn't.
Buen Amigo's not gonna get a character arc from here on out. He's a Badmiral to the end because his heart is burned in a fire. He is done. Um
Yeah, that was just when that happened, I was like, "Oh, oh, we're seeing, like, we're seeing deaths. We're seeing deaths."
yeah.
There was so much death.
Mhm.
Oh, that just twists me up because, I mean, obviously we know that that happens, but for some reason, we thought we would not we all probably had in the back of our mind, "Oh, they're not gonna kill people on screen like that." I mean, they did with Shax, but we still didn't actually, see
Mhm.
him explode. And but Buenamigo, yeah, and then other people on the base, and I'm just like, "Okay, okay, yeah, I
Mhm.
get it. This is super serious. I get it."
Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, the Alito's attacking Douglas Station, and it brings the Dallas and the Corpus Christi online. Um, and the voice that they used to like, it's like the way he said it sounded so evil. It's like activating Dallas and Corpus Christi. I'm like, oh my goodness, these are just built to be evil ships.
Yeah. Oh, Carlos Salos Rocky, you rock it.
It was good. Absolutely. Um, and then yeah, we do get another starship coming in to hopefully save the day. It doesn't work out that way, but the USS Van Sitters, named after John Van Sitters, the head of like CBS licensing or something like that. Um, really cool guy. Follow him on Twitter if you haven't already. It's fun. He's a fun follow. But I just want to like, okay, the USS Van Sitters, very nice homage. I thought that was cool. I'm gonna issue a call out to Trek Culture, who do their weekly Easter egg videos and stuff. I really love watching them. Um, y'all kept calling it the USS Van Critters and not making the connection that it was named after John Van Sitters. I'm officially calling you out, guys. Come on,
Mhm.
the Van Critters.
Why would you even think that? Why would anyone think that?
I don't
Why
know.
why would anyone think that? What what the hell is a Van Critter?
I have no idea. Every time they said it, I was like, stop that.
Just wow.
No.
Just wow. This, yeah, this equals a post that I saw, and I can't even remember which group it was. It was some kind of, big Trek group that everybody follows, and they were wishing a happy birthday to Hannah Cheeseman, uh, who played Ariam in season 2 of Discovery, but they were talking
Mhm.
about her playing Lieutenant Nilsson in Ariam, and I'm like, "No.
No.
No, no, no. No, no. She's only ever played Ariam, and she wasn't in season 1 of Discovery, and she
Mhm.
is not Nilsson. That would be, oh gosh,
I know.
I I can't remember her name right now. I can see her face. She was actually in a few episodes of The Expanse as well. But anyway, um, Dan's gonna look it up for me. I'm
Sorry.
terribly embarrassed because I
Sarah
absolutely know.
Midditch. Sarah
Thank you,
Midditch. I have
Sarah
her.
Middich.
I got a personalized autograph from her as Ariam in season 1 and stuff, and I
Yeah.
couldn't remember her name.
So, yeah. So, it's just like, it's not hard to look up
Mhm.
somebody's IMDb page.
Yeah.
before you post about their birthday and who they play.
Yeah. DJ Kitty Cat. Also, yes. Trek Culture didn't mention the Heart of Texas song at all with
Mhm.
regards to the title. And I was like, come on, guys, it's right there. It's right there.
Guess they've never seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh, uncultured swine. Just kidding.
It's a great movie. I love
It
that
really
movie.
is. I haven't seen it in so long. I need to watch that
Need to
again.
rewatch it. I'm a loner,
Yeah.
Dottie, a rebel.
Oh man. Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Yeah. That's going to be the subject of our next podcast. No, I'm just kidding. Um
I'm in.
but yeah, speaking of Starfleet ideals, I loved also that, you know, the Van Sitters is getting its butt kicked, and you know, the Texas class ships are ignoring the Cerritos because it's not really a threat, right? Like, it's just a California class. It's attacking the station, it's attacking the ship, the Van Sitters. But Captain Freeman contacts them and says, we have the writer of your code and he can shut you down if you don't stop your attack. And that's when they chase the Cerritos, leading them away from the civilians aboard the station. And I love that portrayal of Starfleet ideals. Like,
Mhm.
they know they have no chance against these ships, or very little chance, but they're going to save as many lives as they can. And that's so Starfleet. I love that.
It is. Preserve life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I also want to call out just the gorgeous shots of, okay, so this is where we get maximum warp me. Love that. But the shots of the ship at warp being chased by the Texas class ships,
Mhm.
so good. I love these
Yes.
shots. They're gorgeous. And we get the one shot that I've always wanted to see, which is like where the ship's going towards the camera and the camera goes through the negative space between the nacelles and I love shots like that. I love when they do things
Mhm.
like that. So that was fun.
Yes.
Um, but yeah, they're trying to debate what they can do. And we didn't really mention this whole thing with Shax and, and
And
Boimler
Boimler.
earlier. Um, First of all, his impressions of everybody are really good.
Yeah. Jack Quaid's got it going on, y'all. About time you recognize that.
No kidding. Like, his Ton is pretty good, his Ransom is really good, but Shax, when he does Shax's lines and then Fred Tatasciore says his lines right after that, I was like, that is really good. Is
Really,
that how
really
you
good.
think I sound? Like, that's exactly how you sound. But of course, his feelings are greatly hurt, and every time they showed Shax walking away from Boimler, and you see a couple tears, I'm just like, oh,
Oh,
poor sensitive bear.
Papa
Hmm.
Bear is hurt.
Oh. But he's got the suggestion to eject the warp core, to which Captain Freeman rolls her eyes, and they're trying to think of all these other solutions, many of which are from previous episodes of Star Trek.
Let's turn the deflector dish into a big weapon. Yeah, that didn't work against the Borg either.
um, but Boimler stands up and says, "Listen to Shax. Why isn't anybody listening to Shax? He suggested to eject
No,
the warp core."
he stands up and say, "Shut up!"
Yeah, Mr. Boimler. Oh.
Boiled Boimler. I love boiled. Sorry,
Boiled Boimler.
bold Boimler. I love bold Boimler. I love
Absolutely.
Boimler, period. But I'm really enjoying boiled. I did it again. Bold Boimler.
Mhm.
Bold Boimler. Love it. Love it.
Yeah. Shax gets to eject the warp core, and
Everybody cheering him on in the halls
that was
on
so
his way
ridiculous.
to
That was ridiculous. Like,
engineering.
at first I was like, they're gonna really wait for him to go all the way to engineering and not just have like a couple other people do it down there. But then I was like, nah, this scene is worth it. This is hilarious and I love it. I don't care that it doesn't make sense. Like, I love it. I think it's
Yep.
great.
Well, I mean,
um
it was his lifelong dream.
Yeah,
to eject the warp core.
that was wonderful. And I also loved the key system to eject the warp core because that
Model.
tracks yeah, that tracks with the
Mhm.
model that we saw in season 2 where Rutherford and Tendi both had to insert their keys at the same time and eject the warp core. And I was like,
Mhm.
"Oh, that's just a quirk of the California class, I guess. It's not a
Yep.
voice print authorization, it's an actual key." Okay. That was cool. So, yeah, the warp core, they drop it like a mine in front of the ships, and it takes out all 3. Oh, no,
But it
wait.
doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The Alito, of course, it's the Alito, right? Is the last one standing. And yeah, it's the Cerritos versus the Alito, and it's very one-sided. It's not going well, but of course, we've got Mariner coming in. Now, this is where we have to hit pause
Mhm.
and go to the start of Mariner's story because, like I said, there's a lot going on in this episode.
Mhm.
Um, we've got Mariner teamed up with Petra doing archaeological stuff. Sorry, I'm just remembering an embarrassment of Dupler's that episode with the model.
Water. In 5, 4, 3, 2.
So ridiculous. Oh my god.
So great. It's so great.
Oh god. So yeah, we've got them doing, Raiders of the Lost Ark style archaeology, running from Ferengi and that sort of thing. But there's a question: who's fronting the bill for all of this? Who's sponsoring them? What kind of mysterious dark money is behind their adventures? I liked this aspect of the story because we're so trained, like when there's some kind of question, like, yeah, she's gonna uncover something, it's gonna be, oh no, it's Jean-Luc Picard, and it's
Mhm.
all on the up and up. Oh,
Well, the
okay.
thing is that they're taking back what belongs to other cultures that was stolen from other cultures and giving it back to that culture. And so
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, this isn't shady. There's not going to be anybody shady behind all of this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I was completely unsurprised by it being Picard.
No, I mean, yeah, I guess not surprised, but I liked that it wasn't a
Oh, I have
typical story.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that it didn't go the way that it typically would have.
Exactly, yeah, and my favorite aspect of it is that the reason Mariner was suspicious, and she realizes this very quickly, is that she was looking for a reason to leave and go back to Starfleet. Like, you know, Petra says, like, there's nothing shady here. This is blah blah blah. And Mariner's like, oh, yeah, I guess I was kind of hoping it was the Romulans or something, or the Zindi Cabal.
Cindy Cabal, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all on the up and up. It's Jean-Luc Picard. It's his personal pet project. That makes sense. That fits with what we've seen. And they go and rescue the Cerritos because Mariner says that's what they've got to do. Petra initially is like, no, you're not sacrificing ourselves. But eventually she's like, okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do it.
Well, that's
But
because of Mariner, Starfleet is an idea, but it's about the people, and you served on a ship, you know this.
mhm.
So,
And yeah,
yeah. And he's like, "We
com-
have to do something," and finally Mariner gets to Petra with that,
yeah,
and so they have to go save the day.
yeah. And that was nice to see that influence went both ways, like that,
Mhm.
Petra convinced her to come join her, but Mariner's, fronting for Starfleet. She's kind of like repping them and saying like, hey, it's about this, and Petra's like, yeah, okay, kind of maybe remembering a little bit of why she initially joined Starfleet or something.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But we get we're getting towards what I think is your favorite bit of the episode. They go to aid the Cerritos, but they didn't come alone. They brought a California class ship with them, or maybe more than one, maybe all of them.
Yep. That is the point where I started crying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I was actually mortified when, you know, the killing started on the base, and so I was crying because of that. But when all of the ships showed up, I'm just like, it was wonderful. It was
It was really
wonderful.
good. So I tried it with the closed captioning, and it actually could not keep up. It like misspelled and shortened some of the names as they were coming up.
Mhm.
That's the Crave app that did that. I know that's different closed captioning for different sections, different services that offer the show. So, but I will
Mhm.
say, yeah, Crave's closed captionings aren't the best. They tend to miss a lot of letters here and there. But Brandi, if you would do the honors, I know you've been looking forward to trying your hand at this.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to omit the ones who introduce themselves, like the Merced, the Carlsbad, and the Inglewood, all of which we've seen before.
Mhm.
So we start with the Oakland, the Alhambra, the San Diego, the San Clemente, Sherman Oaks, Vacaville, Burbank, Fresno, Santa Monica, San Jose, Sacramento, Culver City, Anaheim, Riverside, Vallejo, West Covina, Pacific Palisades, Redding, Eureka, and Mount Shasta. All of them.
That's so good. I love the Mount Shasta. I think that's a great name for a starship. But
Absolutely.
also, the Tellarite captain of the Merced, what the heck is he doing standing on the chair with one foot up on the arm?
Because
What
he's
is that?
short.
I guess. That made me laugh. Like every time I saw it, I'm just like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to be like a sea captain on the prow of his ship. Like, I don't know. Seems
Oh
like
my
a
goodness.
dumb thing to do. But,
Yeah,
well, I
the
mean, uh, just not a bright idea for a sea vessel or for a space vessel.
yeah, like the first time the ship shakes, he's gonna go anyway, it's not gonna be pretty. Um, but yeah, well done on reading those names, by the way. Very nicely
Oh, thank
done.
you. I'm very familiar with the cities of California because, you know, Dan knows this, but I used to work for JCPenney catalog,
Mhm.
and a huge percentage of our calls came from all of California, and so I got to know a lot of California cities, and there was actually a catalog pickup in Pacific Palisades for one, and
Mhm.
also Oakland and Burbank and Vacaville and Sherman Oaks. I'm very like, there was not a name on this ship that I had on this ship, on this list that I had never heard, so
No. Um, I love the Alhambra, by the way, with the that was season 1, Veritas. We first see them with Ta'ana getting on the wrong ship. I love that. That was so good.
Yep. Well, and if you freeze that frame, you really can take a good look at everyone on the bridge, but my favorite is still Shax's.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
just that angry giant woman. That, and she's got her makeup done perfectly.
Mhm.
Like, she is not messing around.
Oh, it's so good. Yeah, so they all come to Cerritos rescue, and the Alhambra is overwhelmed. Not the Alhambra, my goodness. The Alito is overwhelmed, and it's being harried by all these California class ships. It decides to focus in on the Cerritos right at the end, though. But of course, Petra and Mariner with their little ship intercept the torpedo before they can deliver the killing blow, and then everyone takes out the Alito, and all is well. So yeah, that was an impressive explosion with the name and registry flying towards the
Mhm.
viewer's perspective. That was fun. Um, yeah, that was really good. That's very rousing. I loved it.
Yeah, I was crying then too. So,
Yeah.
basically crying through that whole sequence, like, from the time that all the ships started to show up until, you know, they destroyed the Alito, and, and later too, you know, I was still just carrying that through, you know, in the aftermath of it,
Hmm.
but
Yeah. I've also seen a lot of people online and in the comments here comparing the the fleet coming in at the end of this episode to the fleet of Inquiry class ships at the end of Picard season 1,
Picard. Mhm.
and like saying like there's similarities, but in this case it made it dramatic and a part of the thing, whereas the previous one kind of felt copy paste kind of thing.
Mhm.
And I don't know if that was completely on their mind when they did it, but I like the idea that this is a nice counterpoint to that, that's saying like this is how you do that right. And I agree, yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely, like it means something, and it's emotional and dramatic. I really like that.
Yeah, I loved all of the different color schemes for the ships
Yeah.
as well, because, they don't all just look alike.
Mhm.
And there's part of me that wonders, well, if they were all manufactured in the same way, did they just get different paint jobs because? Or, like, who
Well,
who decided on the paint jobs?
I think it was Mike McMahon has initially said like why that is. Like they follow the Starfleet uniform type stuff. So the
Oh, right.
Cerritos
Okay.
is yellow because it does operations type missions for the most part. Red do like more diplomatic type second contact missions, like command stuff, and the sciences ones do like the science missions. I think the first other California class we saw had the blue, and they were doing. Oh yeah, that was the Merced, and they were doing that mission with the generational ship with the fluid. That
Moist
yeah,
vessel, yes.
yeah,
Yes, I like saying moist because
indeed.
it really makes some people uncomfortable. Moist.
But there are differences beyond just the colors too. Like there are a
Mhm.
couple ships where the colors are in different places than
Yep,
with the other ones, and more of
I
the
noticed
hull
that.
is a color. So there are
Yeah.
variations just on that line as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was talking about is the hull,
Mhm.
because there were a lot of hulls that I'm like, "Wait a minute, why is that one 2 colors?" So,
Mhm.
just, I wanna know who, did the captain get to choose, "Hey, how about we put, like, this blue stripe right down here?" I don't know.
I could see that because yeah, it was the end of season 1, right? Where they were offering to do some cosmetic upgrades to the Cerritos,
Mhm.
and Captain Freeman was like, "No, I hate it when a ship comes out of space dock looking all sovereign class. Like, no, let's keep it the same kind of thing." So
Right.
yeah, could be captain's preference. I like that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
gonna be my headcanon.
So yeah, the very end we've got Mariner coming back. To some fanfare, but she's pretty quickly taken back. I did really like her return. I think some people will say like it's too quick and like, oh, that just undoes it really quickly. But I actually really liked that, she comes back and um the captain says, "I'd like to formally reinstate you," and Mariner just hugs her. And she says, "I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't trust you." And Mariner says, "Well, maybe because I spent 2 years making sure you didn't trust me." I,
Mhm.
I, I just love that. I love that there's some give and take here. And everybody apologizes, which I think is important. And I love Boimler, saying like, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. She's like, "Ah, it's okay. Is it really okay? Or are you going to hold it over my head and make me apologize? Because I'll seriously, I'll keep apologizing forever. It's fine." That was really sweet.
Yeah, it was really sweet. I found it interesting when she walked in and we see Jennifer sitting with that Kazenti at a
Yeah.
table, and she looks and she's got this look on her face like, "Oh, I screwed up so bad." I kind of feel like that might be over.
I kind of hope not. I hope there's at least some, but yeah, it might be. I don't know. That makes me sad.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Well, and see, I didn't really feel that this was too fast because, again, we see these episodes a week apart, but that doesn't mean that it's been,
Mhm.
only a few hours since the last episode for the characters.
Yeah.
It could have been quite a lot of time. It could have been an entire month for all we know.
I feel like
And
it's been a while, yeah.
yeah. And so it's Mariner needed that time to find out, oh, actually, I don't like doing this that much. It's not the grass is not so much greener on the other side. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you have to find out what it actually is like and realize, "Oh, no, I had it so good before."
Mhm. Yeah. I don't know. I do want more Jennifer somehow.
I do too. I do too. I just don't know if, if that is going to work out with them in a relationship. They might be
Yeah.
able to be friends, but I don't know if Mariner is going to be willing to be vulnerable with Jen again.
Mhm. Yeah. Ah,
Or maybe she'll be ready to be completely vulnerable with Jin,
could be.
excuse me. I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know where they're going
No.
with that. They gave us nothing except for that one look as Mariner walked in. And I think it was also partly that look was also partly being hurt because Mariner didn't stop. She
Mhm.
just went straight to her friends.
Yeah. Because that's the most important relationship in her
Mhm.
life, regardless of what happens there, I think.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that's it for the episode. Oh no, wait. We
Dun
get
dun dun.
finally. And I'm just going to scroll back up and see the comment. There we go. Okay. There we are. Um
Yes.
don't worry, Patrick. We're talking about her. Talin,
Mhm.
finally. Oh, one of my favorite side characters ever.
Yes.
We were
Yes.
promised that she would return in this season, and finally, in the closing moments of season 3, she's back. We've got her joining the Cerritos crew wearing the nifty provisional rank badge like the Maquis wore on
Mhm.
Voyager, and she's going to be Tendy's study buddy.
Oh, can you imagine how Talin is going to react to Miglimo?
Oh my goodness. I can't wait for I hope that she is in season 4 a lot because I
Agree.
love this character. I think she's going to make a really interesting addition to the crew, really kind of cool perspective. And let's see lower decks from a Vulcan perspective. I like that.
Mhm. Well, on her ship, she was seen as a crazy person, basically. So
Mhm.
so it will be
She is
interesting for
out
her
of
to be a
control.
yes, she's lost all control. Oh, Mark Evan Jackson doing a Vulcan, I love it.
Oh, so good.
I said way back when we first watched, Three Ships, I said I'm not gonna try and do the Klingon pronunciation. I said, "I want more T'Lyn. I want lots more T'Lyn. Give me T'Lyn. I want T'Lyn on the Cerritos." And I did think that we would see her again, but I didn't think it would be on the Cerritos, and I'm so happy!
I was pretty sure she'd show up on the Cerritos at some point, and I'm so glad I was right about that. I'm very, very happy to have her there.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
And
I thought maybe she'll
pairing her
come
with
across the Cerritos. Yeah,
pairing
sorry.
her with Tendi, I think, is
The
so
best.
brilliant.
Yeah.
It's like, "Is there somewhere quiet we can discuss my orientation?" "Yeah, but first you gotta meet everybody." She's like,
Mhm, mhm. Yep. That would be like pairing Spock with Tilly. It's just
Yes. Oh my goodness.
so yeah, it was see, I thought we'd see T'Lyn on the Cerritos, maybe as guest, maybe being is part of a mission, something like that, but being posted to the Cerritos,
Mhm.
that is just perfect. It's exactly what I wanted and didn't think I would get.
Oh, yeah, I was like, "They've gotta put her on the Cerritos." Like, that was my at some point. I didn't think it would be in the closing moments of season 3. I thought we'd get her at some point and maybe, like, featured in an episode at some point.
Yeah,
Um, but the fact that she's introduced at the end of the season and, like, it's setting up more stuff, whether that's just in the premiere or ongoing past that, I'll take it either way. I'm really excited. My preference, of course, would be ongoing because I love this character so much.
same, same.
No. Oh, man. Okay. Well, that's where we leave it at the end of season 3. The California classes um, position is secure. We've got the closing credits. Of course, everything goes small in the corner, and there couldn't possibly be anything more because the season. Wait. We didn't get the little titmouse thing and all that stuff. There's something else going on. Better make that bigger and have it fill the screen again. What's going on here? We're back in the Kala system. The remnants of the Pakled clump ship, as they're called. The debris is all there. And I called it. I called it. Back in the Peanut Hamper episode. I was like, was that Rutherford's old implant there that we saw during the opening credits? Yes, it's there. It's getting pulled in by somebody. We have I think a green tractor beam.
Green tractor beam. So I'm going to guess Romulan. I hope it's not Borg, because that would be horrifying.
Ooh,
like way more horrifying than the Romulans.
Oh man. Yeah. But yeah, we see just a flash on the little eyepiece of Rutherford's old implant, Badgie's face, and there we go.
I will burn your heart in a fire.
Oh my goodness. Yep. You and I both seal 0626. We both called that. Absolutely. Man. So yeah, there we go. That's more than enough setup, I think, for season 4, which will be coming sometime next year. So
yep, they've been pretty good about releasing every year around the same time too, usually in August.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about it. I just I want more. I also do recommend everybody watch the Ready Room episode, which is they don't do one for every episode of Lower Decks and Prodigy, but they did do one at the beginning, sort of one in the middle, and now this one at the end. And it's a longer episode because in the first half they talk to Jack Quaid and Noelle Wells about the season finale and the season as a whole, and then they talk to Brett Gray and Ella Purnell about Prodigy. And it's really cool. I've really enjoyed it. And besides, I had never seen Ella Purnell that I could recall. Gwen has her eyes, I can tell you that much. And I did not know she was British. So it's like she starts talking, I'm like, oh, she's British. Okay, that's great. Because usually I can tell when someone is doing not their accent, especially if they're British, because there are certain words that kind of trip them up. And one of those is the word been, as in, how have you been? And they always say been, because that's just the way they say it. And so when I hear a person doing an American accent say been, I'm like, you're British.
Yeah.
You're British. So, but other than that, no, she hasn't missed a beat. I would have no idea. She's really good at what she does.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I haven't watched that. Matthew's having difficulty finding it. People are posting it's on YouTube. Maybe not Canadian YouTube. So Matthew, if you have a VPN that you can set to the US, that might be the way to watch it there. Is it on the StarTrek.com homepage? I know they used to carry it there.
Maybe. I don't know for sure.
Let me just take a quick peek and see if it's there.
There you go. Dan making it easy for you guys, like you do.
Yeah. This looks like it might be it. Yeah, this is it here. There you go. There should be a link in the credits in the
in the chat.
In the chat. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. There you go. So it should be there for Canadian people, the ca.startrek.com, because they got to make everything different for Canada.
That's just dumb. That's just dumb to me. Let's stop the segregation, y'all. Let's just have things work in every country. How about that?
How about that? Well, one thing that does work in every country is our ratings for that's kind of a good segue, not really, for the episodes.
Oh,
So Brandi, final thoughts and rating for The Stars at Night, and of course, folks in the chat as well.
yes. This episode was, in a word, amazing. It was it horrified me at the same time that it gave me all the warm fuzzies, and I think only Lower Decks can really pull that off convincingly. So, I would say, because it's a episodic show, but they do carry certain arcs over, and nothing is wasted. They never waste a reference, so I appreciate that. So overall, I have really enjoyed this season, and, for this episode, I'm going to give it one giant heart burned in a fire.
That's a good one. Yeah. I really enjoyed this episode. I don't think it's my favorite season finale, but like they've been really good, right? So it's up there. Um, I really enjoy a lot of the character stuff. I people may say resolutions are rushed, but I think a lot of what we get for Mariner in this episode and like that, I feel like that works. Um, I was a little bit kind of eye rolly at the Badmiral trope and him just being such a Badmiral, but it works. I mean, Star Trek does that, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna have to give it one really huge California class fleet here to save the day. So that's my rating for it. Yeah, so we've got one giant
Yes.
to Lynn. Oh, like giant Spock. Okay. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep,
Yeah.
mhm,
Yeah.
yep.
We have all the California class ships. That's a good rating. Um, one rescued gold idol. Yeah.
That was really like, the idol itself was very Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it was nice to see the Sovereign class ship, and then of course the huge California class fleet. That was great. Absolutely. Well, that's not the only episode we're talking about this week, though. So we do have the return of Star Trek Prodigy with the episode Asylum. Um, so yeah, let's jump right into that one. I know there were some folks who had watched one and not the other who didn't want Prodigy spoilers. So this is your warning now. There are
Mhm,
Prodigy spoilers for the next episode that
mhm.
that just came out this past week. So sorry, Linda. Nice to have you here.
Hi, Linda.
Be sure to watch Prodigy when you get a chance and watch after. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Much appreciated.
Mhm.
And Wellington, thank you so much. We'll catch you on the flip side as well. Bye.
Yeah, bye.
Oh my goodness, everybody. Okay, bye. Oh, okay. Um, all right. So, oh, and I missed Donnie's. Okay, perfect. 9.75 out of 10 for the whole of the season. That's pretty good too. That's awesome. All
Yeah.
right. So, Asylum. The opening of this episode. Uh so many Star Trek Into Darkness vibes, but like the good part of Star Trek Into Darkness. We've
I'm
got
sorry, what part? Good part in Star Trek Into Darkness?
the good part is the music and the water
Okay.
stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well,
So
we
yeah.
had yeah. Well, I will say, I know that the Hageman brothers straight up said that the whale thing was definitely an homage to Star Trek 4.
Oh, we'll get there. I have comments on that as well for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love the shot of the I almost said the Cerritos, the protostar sweeping over the water. Felt
Oh, so pretty.
that felt very Into Darkness, and that music was very like Michael Giacchino Into Darkness music there. But that whole underwater scene with the poachers, the design on them was so gorgeous, as well as the what were they called, I can't remember what the whales were called, but they
I don't
were
remember
they
either.
had a name. But all of that was so gorgeous, and I love the idea of them racking up good deeds to kind of like try and offset the fact that they stole a Federation starship.
Hey,
Um,
hey, 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 here's the thing. Who stole that starship first?
oh yeah, no, it wasn't them. I think
Yeah,
they're
that's the thing.
yeah,
They still, like, have this thing where they're like, "Oh, we're gonna be in so much trouble." I'm like, "No, you liberated that starship from a madman, is what you did."
exactly, exactly.
Gosh, guys, perspective.
But yeah, I do love this whole scene. We've also got the ongoing mystery of Gwyn and her memories. Of course, her having caught a reflection of Zero has kind of scrambled her memories quite a bit. And so she's getting flashes and this sort of thing, which leads her to pilot them into the belly of the beast. And they get swallowed by this whale. Um, just before the protostar sweeps in and beams it away and gets out of there before they violate the prime directive. I'm like, you're really riding that line. I don't
Mm,
I don't know where hologram Janeway thinks that line is, but apparently they're still on the right side of it, I
um,
guess.
whales are intelligent, so
This was my
think
thinking.
I think a whale would know, "Hey, that's not supposed to be here."
Yeah. I think I watched this episode 3 times actually before we did this. And my brain always tries to like rationalize things, and I'm like, okay, maybe the prime directive stuff, they seemed concerned with the poachers but not the whales. Maybe the whales are a spacefaring species that have warp drive and they're just rescuing one. And I don't know,
Could
my
be.
brain was rationalizing it, but yeah, they beam it right in next to another one. I'm like, they definitely saw that, guys.
Mhm. And the whale herself, she knew that. She knew
Mhm.
that.
Exactly, yeah. So but yeah, anyway,
It's
I
fine.
like it.
It's fine.
It's fine, yeah. But yeah, they're hoping to rack up, like I said, these goodwill points to get back to Starfleet and be in their good books. And that's going to happen a lot sooner than we think, because they've located this relay station, this furthest out relay station of Starfleet's, and they're going to, as Rock says, roll up in a stolen starship. I love that she said it that way. Rolling up in a stolen starship, not the best first impression.
So great.
um Riley Alzaraki, by the way, as as Rock, she is just still a highlight of this show among so
Mhm.
many highlights.
She
She's
is a
so
genius.
good.
She is so good. She is amazing. I love that kid. I love
Hmm.
that kid. And I just her performance is always perfect. Always perfect. There is never a time
Yeah.
where I'm just like, "Ugh, that was a bad reading." Never. Because, because sometimes with kids and she is a kid. I think she's like 12.
Hmm.
So she's definitely because they wanted a kid to play this kid.
Hmm.
And we don't even know for sure how old Rock is, you know?
No. Yeah.
She might be, like, 5 or 6 by our count, I don't know, but she just nails it, and
Yeah.
that's why, and I don't pick favorites lightly, that's why Rock is my favorite character.
Yeah. She's definitely the character where, like, if anything happens to this character, we riot. Like, that's
Yep,
where she
mhm.
is.
We will burn stuff down. You do not touch Rock Talk.
We will burn their hearts in a
To the
fire.
fire!
Oh man. But yeah, of course, like you said, an homage to Star Trek 4, the one with the whales. They're saving the whale, right? That's I love that.
And she's pregnant!
Well, let's get Mama back where she belongs then. That was great. Um but yeah, so they find this deep space relay station, um, and they dock with the station. And of course, we know about the weapon at the heart of the ship, even though the characters don't yet. Gwyn was told about it, but like we said, her memories are fragmentary. She doesn't remember all of this exactly. And yeah, they go into the station and meet Barnes Frex, this Denobulan Starfleet officer, whose rank insignia confuses me, by the way, because he's got Lieutenant Junior grade regular pips, but beside that, also like the provisional rank.
Provisional, yeah.
So what's
Is that
going on there?
because Denobulans aren't members of Starfleet? Because Phlox
Well,
wasn't a member. I mean, the Denobulans as a whole, I don't think were a member of Starfleet during Enterprise time.
yeah,
So,
no, because Starfleet was just a human organization at that time, but like,
yeah,
but later on, like if you're not a Federation member, you can still
you
get
can
into
still serve on a ship. Yeah.
yeah, with regular rank, like Nog did. If you go, so yeah, I don't know what
Yeah. What's the
that's about.
provisional thing? Was he
Yeah.
Maquis?
Yeah, I don't know what that's about, especially the fact that he has both on his
Yeah, that's
collar.
weird. That's
Like
weird.
that was a deliberate choice, and I just want to know why.
I
Like
do
what
wanna
was the
know
thinking?
yeah. And I can tell you this much, they don't explain it on the Ready Room episode either. They talk
Hmm.
about seeing the provisional rank pips, but not why, Frex has both of them.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so this Frex guy, he's Denobulan, like we've said, and something that is interestingly pointed out in the episode discussion on the Positively Trek group is we know that Denobulans, when they're isolated, go a little nuts.
Mhm.
So what was Starfleet thinking? Because
They
he's
weren't.
obviously a little nuts. Yeah.
Unless they were just, you know, trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, I don't know. Not good, but
Mm.
yeah, so he welcomes them aboard and he's a little skeptical of them because as they say, the ship is stolen, and it's like, did you just give you uniforms and a ship? And it's like, oh no, we stole it. Which again, they didn't, but anyway. I loved also that we've got this scanner that will tell the species, and of
Mhm.
course, as we know, the Von Akot are from the future, right? And they're unknown and stuff. So we don't get any further. It doesn't recognize her there. We get our first indication of in dialogue that Rock is a Brickar, which is
Mhm.
very cool. I love that that's actually in dialogue. Jenkin Pog finds out that he's Telrite and one of the founding members of the Federation. And we get it's going to go to his head. Yep. He's calling himself
He
royalty for the rest of the episode now.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. And we find out that Murph is a melanoid slime worm, which
Right. Oh, a
Mhm.
melanoid slime worm, and I'm like, "We have a name for what Murph is," and but still, why is Murph? I mean, Murph can exist in the vacuum of space and all these other weird things. I just want to know how, what yeah, still
Mhm.
so much unknown about Murph.
Absolutely. And yeah, the only reference we've gotten to this before was Rondon in season 1 TNG episode Coming of Age calls Wesley a melanoid slime worm as an insult. That's the only mention of this species ever before. So very deep cut reference there.
Mm.
And I think one of the writers on Twitter said that only one person had ever guessed it correctly that he had seen. So,
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah. I, yeah, not where my brain went, but very cool. Um, so yeah, interesting. I don't know
Mhm.
much more to say about that. um, Dahl, though, is the really interesting one because he steps through the machine and immediately all the monitors say, contact Starfleet Command.
That's bad.
What does that
Well,
mean?
actually, it report to Starfleet Command, meaning they want him and whoever has him, uh, to report to Starfleet Command, and that is not not a good feeling. Not a good feeling.
Hmm.
Talk about
Yeah.
having anxiety about who you are, and then that happens. Oh, poor Dal.
Yeah. That's interesting. I like that there's a mystery set up there. Um, yeah. I don't know. I liked that the two guesses that the guy had for what species he is are two of the guesses that people just in social media have guessed. I'm like, that was
Mhm.
clever. That was clever. Talaxian, and I can't remember the other one, but another Delta Quadrant Voyager species that they ran
Yep.
into. So that was pretty
Very
cool.
sneaky. Very sneaky.
Indeed. So yeah, they're aboard there. They're um, getting acquainted. Zero is taking Gwyn into this machine to try and help her restore her memories. And meanwhile, this Starfleet officer is going to download the ship's logs from the protostar. And of course, as we all know, that's a bad idea. That's not good.
Mhm.
That's
Not
not
good.
going to go. No, not good.
No.
Um, and of course, this weapon starts to invade the systems. And in the previous episode, I think he had said, and I think we get a flashback to this too, where he says it'll tear the Federation apart, right? Whatever this is he's got planned, and we get to see that very visually, very viscerally here with the station's weapon systems coming online and turning on itself and blowing it up. And I was trying to think, I was like, okay, this is a Federation communications relay. That would be very bad if it connected to the rest of the Federation and started spreading it here. And it's kind of
Mhm.
a good thing that it so immediately made itself blow up, because if this weapon were just a little bit smarter, it would lay dormant and then transmit itself to the Federation. And we're really lucky that it apparently didn't do that. So,
Yeah,
whew.
because, all they have to do, because 'cause they're gonna know something's up with that relay station when it's
Mhm.
not responding, and then, and Frex escaped, leaving a bunch of children to die. Way to go.
Yeah, we'll talk about that because I have thoughts.
Oh, me too. Oof. And, so, definitely Starfleet's gonna come knocking. They're gonna come and investigate because
Mhm.
they can't get in touch with it any other way, so they're gonna have to send a ship. So, it would be really bad if there is a dormant thing in there that doesn't. I really hope that's not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, not good. So yeah, we get um what's the sequence that I want to talk about here is where Gwyn is in the stasis thing and it's filling with water. And I'm like, oh no, why would this do that? Like water tubes into the thing. Darn it.
Well, my question is, why is the sick bay on this little relay station more advanced than what they have on the Protostar?
That's a good question. I mean, the protostar is very small, even compared to like other Federation ships, but this relay station isn't that big either. So
Mhm.
that's a good question.
That
Interesting.
bothered me both times that I watched
Yeah.
this. Just like,
And there's no medical staff. There's just this one guy who,
yeah.
I guess his sciences, maybe he is medical, but why then if he's running a relay station? That's a great question. I never thought of that.
It bugs me. It bugs me.
Oh, huh. Interesting. Huh. So, yeah, while all of this is happening, of course, we've got Admiral Janeway on the Dauntless, and she's using the holodeck to view the launch of the protostar with Captain Chakotay, and that was pretty cool. Um, I do have to say, I saw a tweet or some post by somebody somewhere. I wish I'd saved it. I can't remember, but they're like, oh, maybe it was Alex Perry of Weekly Trek. I think it might have been him, where he's talking about he's looking forward to the day when every Star Trek character in every Star Trek show is wearing a completely different uniform from everyone else. And he's like, we're headed that direction, and I can't wait for that day. I love there's so many uniforms that have been like just dumped into Star Trek canon over the last few series. I love it.
Why not? I mean,
Perfect.
even the ones for Strange New Worlds changed between Discovery Season 2 and Season 1 of Strange New Worlds.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So yeah, we've got Chakotay and his crew in the Protostar jumpsuits, which are different from the regular Starfleet uniforms. But yeah, we get this really touching scene between Chakotay and Janeway, and Chakotay saying, "If I get into trouble, I know who to call." Why didn't you call me, Chakotay? What a
Yeah.
great line.
And they have kind of an awkward hug, and I was just like, she's probably whispering in his ear, meet me later. Years later.
Yeah. Why didn't you call
So,
me?
well, that's the thing. Also, the Hageman brothers have confirmed we're finally getting our ship. We're finally getting our Janeway Chakotay ship. And it's about damned time!
Nice. Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, they're out there following the protostar signal that they've gotten and that sort of thing. We'll catch up with them again at the very end of the episode, but I just wanted to comment on that scene because that was a really nice scene for multiple reasons, as you
And it was
pointed out.
just nice to hear Robert Beltran,
Mm-hmm.
doing Chakotay again, and more than just the things we've seen in that hologram
Yeah.
log, and just
Yeah. Well, so yeah, back on the relay station, this thing's starting to tear the station apart. They've got to get away, and the Denobulan dude, whose name I already forgot, Barnes Frex,
Frex.
he corners them in the corridor, holds them at phaser point. What have you done? And decides to make a tactical retreat because the station's gonna destroy itself. Jumps in
I
the
love.
sorry.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was
Nope.
just gonna say, I love how he just shouts "tactical retreat"
And starts running. Yeah. Yeah. Um so yeah, he jumps in the only escape pod and leaves these kids on the station.
What a jackass!
Yeah. That was brutal. I don't know what to say about that. Like, okay, first of all, this escape pod I'm assuming doesn't have warp, so like I don't know. Is the protostar going to pick him up at some point? I don't think so. I don't. He just seems to leave, leaving these kids
I
to
know that
die. But
I
he's
know the
not.
answer to that question, but I can't tell you.
But he's not gonna. He's not gonna fare too well himself. I don't think. But we'll see. So, but yeah. So
I was actually hoping that we never see him again.
I would be
'Cause
okay with that too.
what a jerk!
I
What
would
a
be
jerk!
okay with that. Yeah. So yeah, they've got to basically put on EV suits, which very different body types of everyone. It was really funny to see everybody in the suits. I was like, oh, that's Starfleet technology. I love it. But yeah, they have to jump. They have to jump back to the ship because the protostar is cut loose and the transporters are down because it's tangentially related to Voyager, so the transporters are always down when they need them.
Always, always.
And yeah, the only escape pod is gone, of course. So yeah, I loved this scene. The moment where they're running out there and they get to there and Rock has to calculate, I was like, I think it would be hilarious if we see like equations forming around her head as she's trying to figure it out, and then like half a second later that happened. I'm like, that's great. I love it.
Yes, Rock does science. She's got to science this thing,
That was
and
so good.
I also do love the scene where she is looking at all the different branches of science because Frex asks
Yes.
her what her specialty is, and she doesn't know.
She's like, "There's more
And
than
she
one?"
yeah, it's like there's what, 190 something, I wanna say
Yeah.
196 or 193, different branches of science, and her eyes just get really big. "I've got my work cut out for me," but in the most excited way.
That was so good. Absolutely. Um, yeah, and I love this, like, figuring out, like, "We have to jump in 10 seconds," and then, "Wait, what if I misjudge the distance?" But Zero's counting down.
Mhm,
He's like, "Nope, you said that. That's I trust you. That's what we're going with." And, the timing, of course, in true Star Trek fashion is great because if they didn't jump right then, they would have been blown apart. But, yeah, they jump and it looks good. They're on looks to be the right trajectory, but just miss. Um, that was just a beautifully done visual scene. That was
mhm.
so good. The physics of it too looked really good. Like just the from their perspective, right? The station
Yes.
spinning, and you just see the protostar drifting around and then coming around again. I loved
Mhm.
all of that. The visuals of that was so beautiful.
Agreed. That whole scene, I was tense. It's like, I know they're not gonna die, I know that, and yet I was still really tense, and, all of this resting on Rock's shoulders to make the right calculations, and she did the best with what she had, with the information she had,
Absolutely.
and, thank God for tractor beams is all I can say.
Mhm. Yep, thankfully, hologram Janeway, whips the ship around and grabs them in a tractor beam, pulls them in. And in this moment, we also realize that Gwyn remembers everything, as she says. She flashes back and she remembers everything. I'm loving this relationship between Gwyn and Zero, like
Mhm.
this very caring, very nurturing relationship, I guess. I'm not sure, but yeah, I really like how Zero's looking out for Gwyn. There's something really special there. I like that.
Well, he feels so guilty, and she keeps telling him, "Dude, it's not your fault.
Mhm.
It's not your fault." And, when she says she doesn't know what happens to her father, and they say, "All that I will say is that he can never hurt you again."
Oh,
Or can he?
yeah, I think he can because after this we go to Tars Lamora and the Dauntless has arrived there. And first of all, I want to say what's his name? Commander Tysus, David Diggs. I love his voice. Like,
Yeah, well,
man,
he's got a great voice. He was in Hamilton,
yeah,
and, I would listen to him to do anything. He can also
yeah.
rap really, really fast. Just
But
saying.
he sounds like Andorian royalty or something, just the way
Right?
he carries himself. I love that voice.
Mhm.
That's great voice.
Yeah.
And Jamila Jamil, I will always love whatever she does ever. And the fact that she's Essentia, I'm so happy she's part of Star Trek. That makes me so happy.
Well, I hope you're gonna watch She-Hulk if you haven't already then.
I have watched the heck out of She-Hulk and
Okay,
I
good.
love that show.
Thank you. Same. This is not a She-Hulk, fan cast, but oh my lord, I could gush for hours about this show.
So good. So good.
So
And of course, Jason Alexander is Dr. Noom. I think we only get like one, maybe two lines from him, but it's like, oh yeah, that's Jason Alexander. But
mhm.
yeah, that's pretty cool. Glad to have him back in Star Trek.
He gets
But
around.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so they find the smashed comm badge, Gwyn's smashed comm badge that I think the diviner stepped on and smashed.
Mhm.
And speaking of the diviner, we see this figure rotating in the zero gravity, and he's alive. And yeah. I mean, we
But
knew he would be,
yeah, we did. We did
but
know. But
yeah,
I had
darn
hoped
it.
not.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
So that's where we're left here with the end of this episode. I guess they're going to be chasing down the protostar in episodes to come, but the protostar, of course, has this weapon on board that spells doom for the Federation. So it's as as Flanders would say, it's a diddly of a pickle. So yep.
Yeah.
So is there anything that we haven't talked about with this episode that you'd like to mention? Final thoughts, all that sort of stuff.
I did enjoy Jank and Pog getting pelted by hot wieners.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And
On
of course,
planet Earth.
on Planet Earth. Yeah, I was
Earth.
going to
Yep.
change my name for the second episode, and I totally forgot it was going to be Planet Earth.
Oh shoot.
It's okay. It's my own fault. But at the same time, all I could think of was banana, hot,
Yeah,
banana, hot, banana, hot.
that was going through my head too, for sure.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Any other final thoughts and a rating for Asylum?
Yeah, I don't think I have any other final thoughts right now. This is because I've seen the episodes 11 through 15,
Mhm.
and it is an episodic show, but at the same time, it does have a continuing arc. And so when we got to episode 13, we were like, "Oh crap, we got to watch the next one." And then we got to watch the one after that, and we just binged those 3. So that is how good this season is going.
Mhm.
And I can't wait to see how it finishes as well. So just judging on this particular episode, I would give it one planet Earth, one giant planet Earth.
That's a good one, yeah. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this series. I mean, it's really become a really special corner of Star Trek for me.
Mhm.
I just there's so much, I don't know. I get the warm fuzzies watching these characters because they're learning about all this world that I love so much, right? If that
Yeah.
makes sense. So, and I always think of like new Star Trek fans watching this show and learning about Star Trek through these characters. It just makes me really happy. So, um, I'm giving it. I'm going to say one really well calculated space jump. Um,
Mhm.
absolutely. So, yeah, all the feelings and all of that as well. Aquathon, by the way, is the name of the
Ah,
whale. No, the Aquathon.
Aquathon. Yes.
No. So, yeah, we've got, of course, no Lower Decks next week because that season is done. But we do have a new episode of Prodigy next week entitled Let Sleeping Borg Lie. So, that's a great title, by the way.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure I got that name right. Is that right? Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, I'm excited to learn more about what's going to happen, and I'm excited for Janeway and the Dauntless to get caught up with the Protostar and see what happens there. And I'm really excited to see Prodigy's take on the Borg. So there, the Borg realized in that style of animation, I think could be really terrifying. Like, I think of the scene where in Gwyn's memories, the diviner kind of like lunges at her, and like you see that extreme detail on his face, and like
Mhm.
it's really, really well rendered. And I think the Borg could be really terrifying in this
Mhm.
style. So I'm excited.
Yeah.
All right. With that said, thank you all for joining us for this extra long special episode of the Unready Room. I hope you all enjoyed Lower Decks as much as we did this season. Really looking forward to it coming back next year. And we continue our journey, like I said, next week with more Prodigy. So, Brandi, where can people follow you online if they would like to?
Um, Easiest place is Twitter. Yes, I'm still there. You know, it's if you try to find yourself getting on, not dealing with companies run by crazy people, you are
Mhm.
going to not be dealing with any companies at all. So until I get thrown off, you can find me at Brandywine12 on Twitter.
We'll carve out our little corner of niceness in that company, in that
Yeah,
Twitter
yeah,
space. Ugh. And just ignore the rest because
yeah. That's pretty much what I've already done
mm-hmm.
because I get nothing political. Um, I get only basically nerd stuff like Marvel, DC, Star Trek, basically.
Yeah,
Uh, fan art. I follow a lot of fan artists, etc. So yeah, that's basically all that comes up in my feed now, and
yeah.
that's how I like it.
Absolutely. Well, you can also find me on Twitter at Kertrats. That's just KERTRATS. And of course, in the Positively Trek podcast, hopefully each week, but sometimes every other week right now. We're still getting back in the swing of things, but yeah, you can find us there. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, that's also uploaded here on YouTube as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you next week with Let Sleeping Borg Lie, and have a great Halloween and all of the fun stuff that's happening between now and then. So bye, everyone.